Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to our broadcast for round 10 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour alongside TCR South America here at the El Pinar circuit in Uruguay. 1.94 miles and 12 corners of racing goodness to go. We had a great race earlier on today for the opening race of the weekend here in Uruguay, and I'm expecting even more drama again on track. But let's talk now with Lisa down on the grid.
The second race of the day of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Let's grab a word with Pepe Oriola from Team Honda Goat Racing. Pepe, tough first race there for Honda, wasn't it? Can you just shed some light on perhaps what's going on in the team?
Well, of course, after the nice results we had in Brazil, Esteban is carrying 40 kilos of ballast, which is affecting us more than expected. But today, now we have the second race where we have the reverse grid, so we're gonna try to recover and to have the best points possible to have still good chances on the championship and go with a light car in China.
You mentioned Brazil. Esteban firmly in the title fight in second, but after that first race, he is losing some ground. This is going to be an important race for him and the team, isn't it?
Yeah, today is one of the races that is going to decide the title, so let's keep the fingers crossed and all the push from Europe also, please. Vamos.
Best of luck. I'll let you go. It's time for race 2.
Lisa Leyland there, down on the grid, talking to the team manager of Goat Racing, Pepe Oriola. Of course, as Pepe mentions, 40 kilograms of success ballast for Esteban Gurrieri coming into this race, alongside Rafael Suzuki as well with a 40 kilo compensation weight, 30 kilos for Santi Urrutia, Norbert Michaelis and Guilherme Reichel, 20 kilos for Ted Bjork and 10 for Marco Butti and Pedro Cardozo. So we had the national anthem there, and this is the entry list for the race today. The Kumho TCR World Tour drivers are all present and correct. And now we are joined by the TCR South America field. Once again, several drivers that we have got here that you will recognise from previous endeavours, not least of which is Pedro Cardozo. The Brazilian driver won the TCR South America aspect of the race earlier today, finished in 8th position overall, which was an absolutely fabulous result for the Peugeot driver. He'll be hoping to replicate that and then some in race 2, starting of course as he is from the front row of the grid in 2nd position. Cardozo, big opportunity for him to score big points. You did mention at the end of race 1 he's more interested in scoring the points for his South America campaign, but I dare say you put a racing driver on the front row of a grid, he'll be very interested indeed in trying to stick with the front runners. John Filippi, that you see just briefly on screen for Volcano Motorsport, failed to make it through to the start earlier today. He will be lining up from 3rd position, and that is the driver standings as things stand. 23 points is the advantage for Norbert Michaelis over Jan Elishay. Elishay doing his own charges, the world of good with a race 1 victory. And since we finished race 1, round 9, a little earlier today, the stewards have been busy in the stewards box, and a 5-second time penalty has been applied to Santiago Urrutia post-race, dropping the Uruguayan driver from 4th to 7th in the overall standings, promoting Norbert Michaelis up into 4th, Bebu Girolami into 5th, and Esteban Gurrieri into 6th position. That extends Michaelis' lead at the top of the tree by a couple of points. And what's this? That is our pole sitter. This is big. This is big news. Ma Qinghua failed to get his Cyan Racing Lincoln Co off of the line. Will the Chinese be able to get it started before the entire field works their way past? Yellow flags obviously are waving to warn the remainder of the field on the formation lap that there is a stationary car, but Ma Qinghua having had a monstrous drive in race 1 earlier today, despite the contact at the end of the race, is in a world of pain already. This is an absolute disaster for Ma. That car does not look like it's going to be going anywhere at all anytime soon. I dare say this will be an aborted start if we're not careful. But that's a real shame. Let's have a look at the grid though while we're doing that one. Ma should be on pole from Cardozo, Filippi and Esteban Gurrieri in 4th position. Lining up in P5 is Urrutia from Ted Bjork, Nestor Girolami and Norbert Miklis, 7th and 8th. 9th is Azcona from Ellershey with Mateus Rossi in 11th from Juan Rosso in 12th. 13th is Marco Butti, Norberto Fontana will be alongside him from Juan Casella and Rodrigo Baptista in 16th. 17th, Rafael Suzuki from Dusan Borkovic, Rafael Reis, Fabio Casagrande, 19th and 20th. 21st, Carlos Silva from Thiago Vivacqua, Garded Osman 23rd and Guillermin Reichel in 24th position. But what is happening? That's the big question that I've got. What is happening to Ma Qinghua? Can we get that car out of the way in time? That is the big question. Can he get the car restarted and participate in this race? That is the big question. And for Ma Qinghua, that is not good news at all. Real shame. Monster drive that we saw this morning from Ma Qinghua, all the way down in 15th position on the grid. Raced his way into the top 6 battle. But unfortunately, a little bit of contact from Ma would not help his cause any at all, dropping all the way outside of the top 10 come the checkered flag and final classifications. It's going to be absolutely nowhere near that one for Ma though, should this car not make it through to the start. And if he does, then the big thing here, Pedro Cardozo will be in effect starting from pole position. So there we go, the Ma machine is well and truly out of the way. Everybody will line up in their correct grid slots. So pole position will be vacated. And in effect, Pedro Cardozo is your first place starting man in this race. Santiago Urrutia starting from 5th position. That will be 4th now, courtesy of the lack of Ma. And here we go. Final few cars. Enrique Maglione being the final one of those cars in the Squadron Martino Honda. Line up in position. So drama before the lights even go out. Let's go again for round 10 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour alongside TCR South America. You can see the lights at the top of the screen. They'll all be illuminated, and when they go out, we go racing. And we are yellow flag. Bits of drama, cars all over the racetrack. Lots of excitement at the front of the field as everybody weans their way around. It is Pedro Cardozo was a little bit loose off of the line. He drops down into 3rd position. Does Cardozo, not the best start, but he stays out of trouble, which is exactly what he's going to be wanting to achieve. He said he wanted the TCR South America points far more than he wants the overall victory. That opens the door for Goat Racing and Esteban Gurrieri following through his Bebo Girolami. That's Ted Bjork sideways. Is that contract with the Hyundai guys? Ted Bjork very firmly sideways, 4 wide now. This is only going to end in disaster. There's smoke emitting from the rear of Miklis's car. That seems to have cleared itself a little bit, but Bjork, good bit of car control there. Secondary contact between himself and the Hyundai as well. That opens the door for Jan Ellershey to find his way through. And then a red flag has been called. So very quickly, that one wraps up. Bit of drama on the opening lap, some contact, and the red flag will certainly be, I am sure, for the confusion on the start. But the red flag, an early halt into proceedings. This is not a safety car, let's remember. This is not a everybody runs around in formation and we restart again. This is a red flag and reset. Esteban Gurrieri will be slightly frustrated about that one. I am sure, of course, a great start from the Argentine driver to get that early race lead. One driver will be a bit happy about it will be Ted Bjork, though. Was roughed up in the opening few corners, and that will go as a bit of a lesson learned for Ted Bjork. Not very often you can teach Ted a few things, but any kind of experience that he gains on this racetrack and the kind of behaviour he's expecting from his rivals will all be useful when we go racing again. So red flag, clock stops, 19 minutes, 17 seconds. There's a quick note actually for everybody watching at home. This is a slightly longer race than race 1, 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Race 1 we ran as a 25-minute plus 1 lap. So we'll be going a little bit longer on this one as the field work their way through pit lane. Queue up in formation to go again. That's one of the Lincoln Co cars that you see being wheeled by the mechanics. Can't quite see that on my screen, but I'm going to guess that that would be Bjork and the contact that he came under in the opening few corners of that first start. Can't quite see from where I am. In fact, no, that is Mar. That is Mar Chinquar, of course, because he didn't get away from the line. So this could be a reset opportunity for Mar, for the Cyan Racing mechanics, to get under the hood, find out what's wrong with that car and go racing again. So here's a replay of the start. There was the confusion with the light. Several drivers very slow off of the line, not quite sure exactly what was happening in that particular procedure, and that's why we had the chaos for the run down. Maglione right at the back of the field having a very, very slow start indeed. This is looking at it from the perspective at John Filippi. Good start, then gets out of the throttle when he sees the flag. The initial reaction was there, and then the immediate re-reaction, understanding what was going on with the timing tower. And as you can see, the repeater boards on the left-hand side of the screen flashing in yellow as well. So plenty of confusion on track. Certainly confused me. I thought I'd misread the time of the lights for a moment. But no, alas, it is a false start for these drivers. So hopefully this is an opportunity for Cyan Racing Lincoln Co to have a look at the Mar Chinquar machine, find out what's the matter, try and put right any wrongs that are happening under the hood of that Lincoln Co. And then hopefully for Mar's sake at least, he can get back out on the racetrack and have himself a bit of a fight. It's a long way to travel all the way to Uruguay to not participate in the racing action. So Mar will be very keen indeed to get involved when we go green flag racing once again. Hopefully only a few minutes down the road as well. So don't go anywhere, don't take too long making yourself a refreshing beverage, because we'll be under racing conditions again very soon indeed, I'm sure, with the Lincoln Co squad working away under the hood of Mar Chinquar's Lincoln Co Cyan Racing. Real shame there for Mar. Let's take another look at a replay from the original start. At the back of your shot, there is Ted Bjork. He got turned around by Mikkel Afkona for good measure as well. No, but Mikkelis receives a little tap to the rear of his Hyundai. Marco Butti, I think, was the aggressor on that occasion. The Italian driver contacting with our current Kumho FIA TCR World Tour Series leader. Still feverishly working on Mar Chinquar's machine. Chinese driver, of course, racing on home soil next time. Kumho TCR World Tour is in action the weekend of the 18th and 20th of October. We travel to China for rounds 11 and 12, so Mar will be very enthused to put a good performance in front of his home crowd there as well. We look at these beautiful drone shots. Work on Mikkelis' car, the mechanics having a look underneath, make sure there's no damage from that early contact. Girolama's car as well up on the air jacks. Good opportunity for everybody to check over all of the cars for the opening few corner skirmishes and hopefully get those fixed up and running again before too long. Santi Urrutia impassive in the cockpit of his machine, while alongside him his teammate Mar's having work undertaken. No dramas for Santi. It was a relatively clean opening few corners, didn't get involved in any kind of shenanigans. Santi Urrutia still firmly in a good position to move forward once we go green flag racing once again. You can see a very, very busy pit lane here at El Pinar. There's various team personnel and officials and a few spectators as well. Watch on. Working pit lane, of course, closed to spectators at this stage. They're behind the barrier that you see on your left-hand side. Lots of impassive faces. But of course, everything that we saw in the original, now abandoned start can be thrown away. It now means we reform again when we go green flag. We start it back at 30 minutes. We start with the original grid. So if the Lincoln Co squad can do whatever they need to do to Marcin Hua's car, he will be entitled to start from his original pole position. We didn't complete a lap, in effect. The original restart, the original start, should I say, has been ignored, annihilated, completely restart again from scratch. Few drivers will be more than a little bit happy about that one, not least of which is Marcin Hua, but hopefully the running repairs are enough to see that car through to the conclusion of this race. The two Hyundai drivers will be very happy as well, having been caught up in their own dramas, as will, of course, Ted Bjork. So many drivers then have had their start, gained their experience and their knowledge, and they'll put it into play for this proper start that will be hopefully happening in a few minutes' time. I haven't had word yet of when we're expecting to go green again, but I expect it will be very, very soon indeed. Cars will leave pit lane, go back around, reform on the grid. Never the easiest task when everybody's slightly out of order. Gianfilippi having some good old gaffer tape applied to your race car. Not many things can't be fixed with a bit of the old heavy adhesive tape on that Volcano Racing Audi RS3 LMS TCR. Shake of the head. We're still looking under the hood of Mar. The work has stopped, and now it seems to be pretty much on assessment stage. A lot of pressure on the Cyan Racing mechanics. They've been around the world of touring cars for quite a long time, of course. Back in the day, in the world touring cars, it used to be the Volvo squad. And then they've been very, very successful in the Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing outfit. Here's another little replay. That's the contact. That's a secondary contact now between Bjork and the Hyundai. So that was after we saw Ted very firmly sideways. That seemed to have caused a little bit of drama for Ted Bjork, pushed him a little bit wide. Hopefully no heavy damage, but they've got time. They've got time and an opportunity to check over that car, make sure it's all okay, make sure we're still in a go position. Doors open, not really for air, it's a bit cold here in Uruguay still. Get a little bit of fresh air, plug the laptop in, talk to the team. It's an opportunity to reset and restart for many of these drivers, several of whom will be very satisfied indeed with that opportunity. Right, let's ride on board then. The Santiago Arrutia. Very good reactions there from the secondary slow-in, Gianfilippi. Felipe got a good launch, then realised the yellows were out, got out of the throttle. Santiago Arrutia could have had a nasty incident there. So good driving from Santiago Arrutia to avoid that one. And in fact, I'm just hearing that actually, should Mar be able to get that car up and running again, he won't in fact be starting from his original pole position, but will be inserted into the back of the field. So Marcin Hua, bit of a get out of jail free card to have this opportunity, but it's not 100% reset for the Chinese driver. Started 15th in race 1 before his incident, fought his way up into the top 6 fight. Well, now he's going to be starting in 25th position and will have to do it all over again. Thankfully the bonnet's down on Mar's car though, so that one does look like it may be ready to go racing again. Pleased to hear from Marcin Hua. This is the original start, of course. Several drivers not quite sure whether it's go or stop time, which caused plenty of confusion. Luckily though, everybody was wise enough to avoid any kind of dramas, managed to navigate their way through the various bits of excitement without losing any big runners. There's the grandstand that overlooks the Turn 1 complex of corners. The paddock you can see just behind. There's the footbridge in the background. It takes you over to the outfield. It's a very compact old school circuit here at El Pinar. Quite technical, quite exciting as a driver. Often a little bit more difficult to pass, the final hairpin being very much the place of choice to make the overtake. And we saw several drivers, not least of which Santiago Arrutia, make some good moves into that final hairpin over the course of round 9, race 1 earlier today. He'll be hoping to repeat that one 5 times. Would be ideal for Santi to get him right to the front of the field, and no doubt the entirety of the crowd here in Uruguay would like that one very, very much indeed. Some last minute discussions then with the engineers. I can hear the whistle, which suggests that we're thinking about clearing pit lane to make it safe for cars to be on the move. Final checks under the hood. Santiago Urrutia's Lincoln Co. Racing. Sorry, Cyan Racing, Lincoln Co. So difficult for a driver these times. You get all pumped up for the start, you run through your process, you run through your routines, you do the debriefs with the engineers, you set the car up on the formation lap, and then to see a red flag such as this, you have to fully reset. Santiago Urrutia probably has to have a quick run to the loo, by the looks of it. There we go, round back, make it quick, Santi. A good timing for him. But it's so difficult to reset as a driver. You've got to go through the processes again. You've got to get yourself into the right frame of mind mentally. As you can see, look, Norbert Mikulis, completely different mentality. Passive in the cockpit, zen as he concentrates, visualising the job in front of him, visualising what he needs to do to improve his standing and his opportunities to score in this race. And these are all, don't let superstition be discounted or anything. A lot of these drivers, very superstitious, have routines, have processes they go through. Take them outside of that routine, outside of the standard, it becomes quite difficult as a driver to plug yourself back into the zone. I've spoken to many drivers over the years about exactly this, and oftentimes they'll say it's so difficult to reinsert yourself back into the racing mindset, having had a delay. Of course, we had a 1 hour plus delay in Interlagos in qualification. So this, by comparison, is a positive walk in the park for these drivers, but nevertheless, it's still another aspect that they need to consider before going racing again. Urrutia, business complete, he's back in his car now, getting his belt back on. Be a nice relief for Santi, I'm sure it will. There we go, nice and tight in the cockpit of a TCR touring car. You don't want to be moving around. You need to be firmly wedged into that racing seat, completely, very little room for manoeuvre at all, which is vital to make sure that the driver has maximum control over the car. It's surprising for a touring car, if you've never been trackside, to see one of these cars in action. It is very surprising just how aggressive they are inside, how much movement the car underneath you, and the braking and the accelerating, that the roll of the tyres is a very aggressive stance for a touring car. I've been fortunate enough to be around in a few touring cars and a few TCR cars over the years on different circuits, and let me tell you, that is not a serene place to go and do business as a racing driver. So massive credit has to go out to touring car, race car drivers all around the world, not just in the World Tour and in TCR South America. The TCR cars, they're a fabulous car. They're a fabulous, relatively cost-effective way to go motor racing. Incredible racing action that they produce, not just at the world level, but nationally around the world as well. There are many different national touring car TCR championships, some regional, and there are many opportunities for a TCR driver to get out there on track and go racing in these cars, and such a delightful experience they are. Of course, we had Nelson Piquet Jr. at Interlagos, a former Formula E champion and a Formula 1 driver as well, thoroughly enjoying his stay in TCR touring cars. We've got another Grand Prix driver on the grid, former Grand Prix driver, of course, Norberto Fontana. Had a handful of races all the way back in 1997 for the Sauber team. Cast your minds back to that one, Fontana. A brief foray into the world of Formula 1, then went back and had quite a successful career in South America, it has to be said. Multiple champion in TC 2000s, and he's thoroughly enjoying himself, it has to be said, in his TCR, Kumho FIA TCR World Tour debut over the course of these last couple of weekends. Now in the Squadron Martino. Honda, of course, started out life in the Toyota at Interlagos, and the upturn in form has been notable. Definitely a driver that's trouble in the top 10, it has to be said, is Norberto Fontana. So, good stuff. Right. I'm just hearing in my here now that we will be restarting behind the safety car. So it is not a full reset. I expected it would be, but I actually got that one wrong. It will be a restart behind the safety car. The original grid minus Mar. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. So it will be a full restart behind the safety car. We will not be going to the grid for a standing start. And Bachinhua will, of course, be starting at the very back of the field, should the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co squad I've managed to get under the hood and work out what exactly went wrong and why Ma was stationary on the original formation lap. So get out of jail for Ma Qinghua, for sure. He's got a lot of work to do with 24 hungry TCR cars in front of him. He's definitely going to be one for us to keep our eye out on and see what happens as the race unfolds. We're only a few moments away then from the restart. One hopes. Do stay tight. I'm sure, in fact I promise, this is going to be worth the wait. This is the second race of the weekend. Race 2 of a 2-race weekend in a touring car is always a little bit spicy, it has to be said. And we don't need to use these cars again until we get to China on the 18th to the 20th of October. So we can afford to be a little bit aggressive, methinks, for these touring car drivers. There'll be a few people that'll have a vested interest, shall we say, in moving up through the field. Not least of which is that man Santiago Urrutia on home soil. He's had his comfort break, had his chat to his mechanics, and we'll be going again very, very soon indeed. One hopes. So then, what does this all mean for the race that we're about to undertake? Well, of course, what it means, a standing start, is normally plays into the strengths and weaknesses of various different drivers, various different teams and car combinations. The Honda has historically not been particularly great off of the line. The Lincoln Co. has been relatively sharp when the lights go out, but of course it's going to be a rolling start, so we mitigate all of those risk factors, and that now gives a different complexion to the start of this race. We saw in the restart for race 1 behind the safety car a little bit earlier on today, 10 o'clock. That race took place this morning, a lot's happened since then. But in the restart, several of the drivers were a little bit reticent to be too aggressive and too close to the car in front. Really not a great deal of sort of attacking stance from these drivers under the rolling start formation. This is going to be an interesting thing for us to observe. Will the likes of Pedro Cardozo, will he be aggressive off the line, defending from John Philippi? John Philippi had a great start before coming off of the throttle in the initial beginning. How's that car going to be from a rolling start? Does the Volcano Motorsport machine have the pace to stay with the front runners? We've not seen anything of Philippi this weekend. Practice 1, practice 2 in very, very wet conditions. John in the lower reaches of the top 20. Put a monster lap in qualifying to get into P8 right at the very death on Saturday afternoon, and then obviously never made the start for race 1. So that is the dark horse for the race, is that Volcano Motorsports Audi. Absolutely no idea how quick that car's going to be over a race stint, and frankly, neither do the team. They've not done a race stint at Pinar at all. And there we go. That is a 10-minute board, a bit longer than I think perhaps we would have hoped it would have been for the restart, but the 10-minute board is waved, and then we'll get straight into the racing action. Of course, it's behind the safety car, so we don't need to go for too much of a start procedure. We can get rocking and rolling straight away. But 10 minutes, we have 10 minutes to go until we go racing again at Pinar for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour alongside the TCR South American Series. So let's have a little talk about TCR South America for a moment then. While we've got this lull in activities, it is worth reiterating again, Pedro Cardozo is the man from second position on the grid, will effectively be leading the pack, with Ma Qinghua having been moved to the rear. Cardozo is leading the field, but he's also on trend to score the maximum points for his own TCR South American campaign. What does the Brazilian driver do? Is he going to look for the overall result? Will he be interested in fending off the charges of Felipe Guerrieri, Urrutia et al. Behind? Or is he going to be interested more in conserving and banking the points for his own title? We've seen this before. You see it in multi-class racing when you've got different classes and different gradings of drivers fighting in their own particular category. Often, if you're too conservative, you can fall through the pack very, very quickly indeed. And with the likes of Matthias Rossi in 11th place, Juan Rosso in 12th, not that far away. If Cardozo comes into this one a little bit cautious, he can very, very easily fall into the clutches of those chasing him behind. So really the best form of defence for the likes of Cardozo is attack, is charge at the start, try and gap the chasing pack behind. That is not the easiest thing in the whole wide world when you've got John Filippi and Esteban Gurrieri, both winners in the World Tour themselves, breathing down your neck. Even more so when Santiago Urrutia is also in there for good company. That is Esteban Gurrieri. We saw him getting the jumbled start, shall we say, being the quickest off of the marks to clear himself through to the front of the field. Lisa Leyland spoke to his team manager Pepe Oriola on the grid before the initial abandoned race start, and Pepe was saying this is vital for their championship. It's been a difficult weekend. They've got the full 40 kilo of compensation weight aboard, which is making it difficult for Gurrieri. But he's starting from a strong position. He's starting from what is effectively third place on this restart. And arguably you could say he's the leading driver of the established front runners, shall we say. So Esteban Gurrieri has a big opportunity to score some big points, get in front, get track position, and then defend from all his worth for the cars behind. Just 5 minutes to go then until the racing safety car restart. This is the start procedure issue that we had at the first start. Several drivers not quite sure whether they're coming or going. So obviously there are a few drivers there that were a little bit cautious off of the line. John Filippi got the best launch initially and then quickly got out of the throttle. That was good driving. Once again, seeing it off board shows just how close it was Santiago Urrutia to avoid the back of that Audi. So clever bit of driving from Santi. But it's a long time to wait to go restart again. Let's have a look on board from Santi. There we see brakes on. Very, very leery stuff indeed. And some very smart driving from the 112 machine, Santiago Urrutia. Not quite sure whether we're racing or not. Carried on going. 5 minute board is aloft now. So we'll be going in a few moments' time, I'm absolutely sure. Behind the safety car, of course. And then we go for a 30 minutes plus 1 lap race here at the El Pinar circuit in Uruguay. Second time we've been at this track, of course. It is about 1.94 miles in length, which is 3.125 kilometres, 12 corners. It's a new layout for 2023. This is the second time that the World Tour have raced here. It was very, very new last year when we came. They were still putting the advertising banners up. They were still doing work to the circuit to get us in a go position, delayed somewhat as they were by regional local flooding. And in this second year now, the new layout has proven to be popular here in Uruguay. Added an extra kink towards the end of the lap, and the new layout has proven to be very popular indeed. It's added an overtaking opportunity for our drivers as well. It is an old school circuit. It is one of those tracks that are very reminiscent of racetracks of yesteryear. You can get really up close to the circuit and see the cars in action. Some very fast corners and some technical corners as well. The first section of corners off of the start-finish straight is incredibly quick indeed as we drop downhill and sweep to the left-hand side. And that's another one the drivers have particularly enjoyed experiencing in a TCR touring car. Makes it difficult to follow, of course, though. We've got a couple of big braking events just after the end of Sector 1. There's an opportunity to go 2 wide. We saw them 4 wide, in fact, in race 1, so there's plenty of opportunity. But the best overtaking opportunity, of course, is the final corner on the new boot section, if you like, of this El Pinar circuit. And we saw that used to good effect by several drivers out on the racetrack in race 1 earlier today. Will anybody try and pull the same trick in the second race when we go green flag in just 3 minutes time? It's been a long pause, been a lot of opportunity for reflecting for the drivers and teams. Will that translate into some good racing when we go green again? I'm absolutely certain it will. It always does. It's a TCR racing, folks. Best touring car racing on the planet, in my humble opinion. And the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, featuring some of the best touring car drivers in the world as well. Joined by our TCR South American colleagues for this weekend and for the previous weekend at Interlagos. It's fantastic to be back again with TCR South America. Big shout out to everybody involved, by the way, in TCR South America for the wonderful welcome and hospitality that they've offered towards us. It is fantastic. It's a great series, very high level of drivers and teams. Often have some fantastic racing. They've got beautiful racetracks here in South America as well. They race at some absolutely incredible venues. And if you're watching this as a World Tour fan and you're perhaps not so familiar with TCR South America, I do recommend you give them a check out. It's a great category of racing, one that I personally am a big fan of. Some good cars, some good drivers, some good teams, some great people involved, and they put on a fabulous show. very fan-centric. If you live in South America and you live near a racetrack that this series visits, I do recommend you go down there. They've got some great fun activations. They've got a guest car as well for taking people around the racetrack. They have activations for the children. As you've seen, the stage already with some music on there, some parties, and of course this part of the world is some beautiful food too. So if you do have an opportunity to visit TCR South America trackside, I do recommend you do so. It's a fantastic category and it's a privilege to be alongside them again in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Right, enough of that one. I've just been whispered in my ear that we've got 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go, and we are finally back racing again here at Pinar. So don't go anywhere, get comfortable. Get yourself your refreshing beverage alongside you and settle down for half an hour plus 1 lap. Tin top touring car greatness that I am sure is about to befall us. Just to remind you, Pedro Cardozo will effectively be starting at the front of the field. Alongside him will be John Filippi, Esteban Gurrieri and Santiago Urrutia will be 3rd and 4th position. Ted Bjork will be starting from 5th alongside Nesta Girolami in 6th. Then Norbert Michaelis, Mikel Azcona, Jan Elishay and Matthias Rossi will round out the top 10. Juan Rosso will start 11th from Marco Butti and Roberto Fontana, Juan Casella, Rodrigo Baptista and Rafael Suzuki in 16th. Dusan Borkovic will be 17th from Rafael Race. Fabio Casagrande will start in 19th from Carlos Silva. 21st will be Thiago Vivacqua from Galid Osman. And then Guilherme Reichel will be 24th, and in last but 23rd position, Enrique Maglione in 24th, and Ma Xinhua will be a despondent, frustrated and irritated 25th and last. So the clock's already started, the safety car will peel in a few moments' time. Everything will get very loud and very excitable indeed. We'll be racing for round 10 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour alongside TCR South America. Having a quick look, I believe that everybody that should be is out on the racetrack, so that's good news. We've had no fallers out over the course of the brief period of rest under the red flag conditions, so that is great news indeed for the duration of the race. We're going to have a full stack field. Ma Xinhua, you saw right at the very back of your shot, forlornly leaving pit lane. Starting in pole position before we've even hit the first racing lap. He's right at the very back, so real shame for Ma, but he's going to be spectacular, I am absolutely certain, as we go racing again. We'll keep our eye on that one. As everybody's warming brakes, warming tyres, warming the hands as well, probably, it's that cold here, and getting themselves into racing mode once again. Rafael Race coming to the screen there. Safety car SUV slowing the pack down, giving everybody an opportunity to condense up. We've still got a few stragglers I can see right at the very back, with Ma Xinhua of course being the last of those stragglers. So they'll close up the field very quickly indeed. Safety car will peel off and everything will get rather exciting once again. There is Santiago Urrutia on board. Last few opportunities to get some heat in those Kumho slicks. And then we're going to be asking a whole load of them as we go racing. Once again, Pedro Cardozo now is in effect the safety car. It's up to him to dictate the speed of the field as we come for the run down into that final corner. This is the new section of racetrack here at Pinar that we spoke about. It was new for 2023. When will Cardozo go? Certainly lining the car up. Will he go on apex or will he leave it late? No. Cardozo goes. John Filippi a little bit slow off the marks behind him as well, so he's not really following the Peugeot too hard, and we are racing again at Pinar in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Cardozo leading Filippi at the front of the field. The Volcano Motorsport driver just behind him though. That is contact, big contact between the 112 of Santi Urrutia and then the GOAT Racing Honda of Esteban Gurrieri. Gurrieri does absolute miracles to get that car facing in the straight direction. Hard on the throttle, front wheel drive, normally brings it back round again, but Esteban Gurrieri will not be happy at all by that one. Urrutia up into 3rd position, Bjork up into 4th place as the GOAT Racing Honda now all the way down, heavy defending from the 2 Hyundais behind. That is Mikel Azcona and Norbert Michaelis trying to find a way past. Azcona looks to the outside. Mikulis to the inside. Girolami, in fact, not Azcona, my apologies. Bebu Girolami trying to find a way past. A little bit of squabbling further down the running order as well. Galen Osman getting involved there. Nobuto Fontana side by side as well. Fontana trying to make his recovery. Filippi still weaving to break the toe, to warm the tyres and to cover off the attacking Santiago Urrutia. Urrutia trying to find a race one pass that he did, but not on this occasion. A little bit further back, Mikulis, Azcona, Girolami, still headed by Girolami at the front of that particular fight. Dusan Borkovic buying into it as well. 17th position for Borkovic. He's on a charge. There is Jan Aleshe as well. In 9th position, Jan made up one, courtesy of Marching Hua. Doing well to stay out of trouble is the French driver. That's the name of the game in these opening corners, these opening laps. Stay out of trouble, something that Santiago Urrutia is not doing a particularly good job of, it has to be said, in this race. Santi now climbing over the back of John Filippi, and I do think that once that Lincoln Co gets past, it's going to leave John in his wake very, very quickly indeed. Filippi having not got a race distance in dry conditions under his belt, not even close in fact, so far this weekend. This is a venture into the unknown for the Volcano Motorsports driver. Let's take another look at the incident that we saw with Esteban Gurrieri, Santiago Urrutia. Gurrieri, great job, great bit of driving from the Argentinian driver there to get that car back on the straight and narrow, but he'll not be happy with the time loss, not be happy at all. And this is Filippi now under massive pressure. He's gone for a defensive stance. Urrutia trying to fill the mirrors of the Frenchman. A little bit more aggressive perhaps than is sensible at this stage for Santiago Urrutia, though. Looks to the outside line. John Filippi, does he have the launch off of the corner in the Volcano Audi? Yes, he does. Beru Girolami trying to buy into this one as well. Ted Bjork gets an opportunity. Ted Bjork against the home driver, and he gets the move done. Nice job there from Ted Bjork. Urrutia has gone from the attacker to the defender, and now Bebu Girolami trying desperately to buy into this one. Having a look at the back of the Lincoln Co. But Bjork moves up into 4th. Girolami still trying to find a way past Urrutia. No opportunity for John Filippi. He's trying so desperately to defend from Ted Bjork. No opportunity on that occasion. I did think Bjork was going to have a little look, but he elects against it on this occasion. Bjork on the podium in race 1. Dearly love to go a couple of steps higher up on this occasion should the opportunity present itself. 3rd position, contrary to the timing screen saying it's 4th for Bjork. It is not 4th, it is 3rd position. You can tell Bjork has got the yellow flashes on the wing mirror, and he's the one keeping John Filippi very much company indeed. That is on board with Santiago Urrutia, dispossessed down to 4th place. Urrutia has the outside line, leaving the door a little bit tempting for Bebu Girolami, but Girolami can't find a way past on this occasion. And while they're squabbling, Pedro Cardozo is absolutely loving this one. The harder that John Filippi defends, the more opportunity Cardozo has to scamper away at the front of the field. So that's good stuff from Pedro Cardozo. He will be very enthused to see that fight continuing, and hoping that John Filippi can hold on to this one for Volcano Motorsports. Certainly, Filippi is the cork in the bottle at this stage. Ted Bjork, the first of those challengers, trying desperately to find a way past the Volcano Motorsports Audi. Lights ablaze from Filippi, but he's losing ground very, very quickly indeed from Cardozo. 3/10 was the difference in lap time last time around. Pedro Cardozo needs to push hard at this stage, make hay while the sun does shine, metaphorically speaking at least, if not physically, to try and build himself a blanket over this no doubt ravenous chasing pack, being held up as things stand by a very impressive looking John Filippi in 2nd position. Marco Butti, by the way, makes his way up into 9th place. That's a good bit of driving from the Italian. He's in a 9th position as things stand for the Goat Racing Honda. Not quite close enough though to find any opportunity past the warring Hyundai teammates. That is Norbert Mikulis and Mikael Azcona, occupying a very similar part of racetrack, it has to be said, but so far it is advantage to Mikulis. Matthias Rossi that we saw very briefly on our screen there for the Toyota Team Argentina squad. There we see him go through car number 17, and that's Dusan Borkovic. He's had himself a monster drive in these opening few laps as Borkovic up to 11th position from 16th on the grid. That's great from the big Serbian driver Borkovic. Had a charge as well in race 1. Certainly plenty of pace. Now starting to come alive for Borkovic in the races. And he's up into 11th position, chasing down Matheus Rossi for the top 10. Marcin Hua, one to keep an eye on as well. He's moved up into 18th position, so not quite the start that Mar was hoping for from the back of the grid. Still got work to do to squeeze his way into what he hopes would be a top 10 Kumho checkered flag as the field navigate their way through again. 20 minutes left on the clock, of course. 30 minutes plus 1 lap is this race. And John Philippi still holding on. Fantastic driving this from Philippi. First time in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour this season. Moved over from TCR Europe. A little bit of debris on the racetrack as well there. Not quite sure where that came from, but Philippi hoovers it up on his defensive charge. Has no choice really. Has to cover the inside line. Let's hope that doesn't cause in any kind of problems. By the way, Jan Elishay, where has Jan Elishay gone? I don't see him on the timing screens, so this is massive news. Jan Elishay, second position in the World Tour standings, is no longer in this race. We've not seen it on screen. I don't know why that has happened, but for Jan Elishay, this is an absolute feast or famine for the French driver this year, it seems. It's either at the front of the field doing wonders or in the garage wondering what happened. And unfortunately for Jan, from the delight of victory this morning to the despair of, at best, the back of the field, we'll see if he stays running and see if he stays in this race. But Jan Elishay definitely no longer troubling the scorers. Big, big news for the World Tour point standings. Big, big news for the race in particular, though, is Philippi's continued defence of this second position. Last time around, 3/10 slower than Pedro Cardozo, so the gaps aren't massive. Cardozo doesn't have huge pace considering the defensive action that Felipe's undertaking, but every 10th that Cardozo can eke out is another opportunity to consolidate his strong position at the front of the field as Felipe now heavy defensive from Ted Bjork. Bjork can't find a way past the 111, has to slot back in line, and that allows Urrutia, who is, I think it's fair to say, known to be a touch more aggressive than Ted Bjork in racing conditions, so maybe it could be time to think of a swap, see if Santiago Urrutia can do anything about John Philippi ahead. Certainly plenty of fireworks if he did. It's difficult for the Lincoln Co squad, of course, because the field are so tightly condensed in his opening few minutes of racing action. Mar up to 15th position, off camera by the way. There is Mar, cutting through your screen there. Casella is the next man on the list for him to tackle. Casella's got Norberto Fontana for company as well, so Mar made up 10 places in the opening half of this race, but still has plenty of work to do to trouble those top 10 positions. There's the 155. Whatever dramas that befell that car at the start of the race don't seem to be causing any problems now, as there we see the two Squadra Martino Hondas side by side. Norberto Fontana just about holding on this occasion as Felipe now. John Felipe under massive, massive pressure. John Felipe, this is a big opportunity for Ted Bjork. Felipe very aggressively defending the inside line. Will he be able to match his breaking point? Can Ted Bjork go the long way around, and does this open the door for Santi Urrutia? Great shots on board from Santi. There is Ted Bjork to the left-hand side of your windshield. John Felipe just about holds on in the acceleration phase, but Bjork now will have the optimal line for the run down into this opening swooping section of corners, and Ted Bjork gets the job done. At last, Ted Bjork is through. Felipe drops down into third position. Santi Urrutia, though, Felipe on the attack again. John Felipe on the attack again, doesn't have enough real estate though to get that Audi alongside the Lincoln Co, so a spirited attack from Felipe there, and Bjork now clear into second position. Santi Urrutia the next man on the charge. Santiago Urrutia, car number 112. The blue car that you see, the bar car, the Audi there, will be very, very keen to get on the attack, secure himself the bottom step of the podium, and more importantly, try and close down Ted Bjork ahead. But it's not going to be an easy job for Santi Urrutia, as Nesta Girolamo in the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa Elantra is very interested in this fight as well. Stout defence then from Felipe. 8 laps that he managed to hold off the faster car. It was inevitable that Bjork would find his way past. It was just a matter of when. And look at the gap already that Ted Bjork is starting to form over the Audi behind. We'll keep our eye on lap times to see how the closing of the gap between our race leader, Pedro Cardozo, and the chasing Ted Bjork. 15 minutes and 43 seconds, there's not a lot of time for the Swedish driver to close down his Brazilian compatriot, their counterpart, at the front of the field. There is Cardozo, clean air, fresh air between himself and Bjork with undeniably the faster car underneath him. 3.8 seconds is the gap across the line. Let's see what Pedro Cardozo has in the tank now for the rest of this race. The Santi Urrutia on a charge, still trying to find a way past John Filippi. Not really an overtaking spot there. Filippi has the inside line covered. Santi drops back, tries to have another attack. Looks one way and then the other. Very aggressive wheel work from the Uruguayan driver. Santiago Urrutia now goes for the dive bomb. Door closed. Wise from Santi Urrutia. Doesn't want to be attracting any more penalty points on his licence. He's collecting them at quite the rate. He has 8 at the moment, so any more of those, he will be in danger of sitting out a race. So Santi Urrutia needs to keep it clean. That is absolutely for sure. And this little squabble as well is allowing Esteban Gurrieri to stay in the thick of things as well. Gurrieri currently holding on to 6th position, just behind Girolami. And that's the outside move now. That is the outside move from Urrutia, just like we saw in the previous lap. John Filippi, though, gets a good launch off of the final corner, manages to fend on this occasion. Once bitten, twice shy. He's not going to allow Santiago Urrutia to do the same to him that Ted Bjork did just a lap or so ago. Good bit of driving then from Filippi. Bebo Girolami still keeping a watching brief behind. That is the Hyundai Elantra with the yellow mirrors. Argentinian driver Nestor Girolami, more commonly referred to as Bebo Girolami. Bebo having another good race, keeping a watching brief, trying to put pressure onto Urrutia. Gurrieri doing all he can to get a big points haul. They'll all be aware that Jan Aleshe is no longer in the running on this one, so they'll be aware for each and every one of them. This is an opportunity to score big. Aleshe, by the way, is still circulated a lap down in 25th position, so whatever dramas befell that car seem to have been resolved now. In fact, 24th position, he's just made the pass as he's passed the timing screen, so he's on the same lap, but a lot detached. What is happening here then? This is Urrutia delayed. Urrutia watching Gurrieri on the charge. And Urrutia seeing Gurrieri on the outside line. This is an opportunity for Santi. As Urrutia and Girolami go side by side, can he make up for the lost ground? Santiago Urrutia now gets a good launch to the final corner. Outdrags the heavy Esteban Gurrieri with that 40 kilos of compensation weight. And he doesn't quite make that position back, so Santiago Urrutia not having a good time. He's gone from the attacker to the defender, and Esteban Gurrieri sneaks up, as does Nestor Girolami, into 4th and 5th positions respectively. So that is a disappointment for Santi. Still got 12 minutes left on the clock. Still good opportunity. Gurrieri not had the best of times, it has to be said, this weekend, just trying to sneak on the points where he can. And he's now got to defend, and increasingly frustrated, I dare say, Urrutia behind as he drops down the running order. This opens the door, though, for Nestor Girolami now. Does the Argentinian driver have enough in the tank to chase down John Filippi? Ted Bjork 7/10 quicker on the last lap, by the way, than Pedro Cardozo. Close that gap down to just 2 seconds. And let's have another look now at what happened here with Urrutia. A little bit wide. In fact, there's some damage actually on the bonnet of Bebo Girolami, which suggests that Girolami's been saying a rat-a-tat-tat hello to the back of somebody, probably Santi Urrutia for good measure. Walking wounded all around the racetrack, and there is a big move. There's a big effort from the 199 of Marco Butti. He's alongside Mikel Afcona. Can Butti get the deal done when we pick that one back up again? There they go side by side again. Is that contact between the two? Marco Butti does his best rallycross impression. Hopefully he can get that car safely back onto the racetrack. Takes the very, very long way around the chicane. Does rejoin the track, but that is goodbye to any chance of a decent result for Marco Butti. Let's take another look. I'm not sure if there was contact between the two cars or Butti just ran out of grip and ran out of road, but the end result is Marco Butti is dropping down the running order, 9th position when that move began. Nowhere near the top 15 now for Marco Butti. Real shame. The nightmare weekend continues for the young Italian driver. And meanwhile, at the front of the field, the sensational pace of Ted Bjork has brought him right on to the rear bumper of Pedro Cardozo. Bjork looks to the inside. Cardozo, less than zero interest in defending that one. Doesn't want to risk his car, doesn't want to risk the points haul. Sneaks back up the inside, retakes the lead. White's bit of driving. Esteban Gurrieri in the middle of a fight of his own as well. Gurrieri side by side with the Elantra of Girolamo. Gets it done, slots back in behind this car of Santiago Urrutia. Urrutia then shuffled his way back to the front of that pack. Cardozo shuffled his way back to the front of the race. And the fight continues. Sensational stuff all the way through the field here at El Pinar. Urrutia still in 4th. Filippi still somehow holding on to the bottom step of the podium. And Gurrieri, Girolamo, Michaelis and Arcona still avoiding any kind of dramas in respectively 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions. Fantastic stuff. One of the big drivers I want to give a shout out to as well for their charge to the pack is Ma Qinghua, all the way up in 10th position. So Ma, from the very, very back of the grid, he's now buying into this fight that includes his teammate Santi Urrutia. So Ma from last versus John Filippi from second are all occupying broadly the same bit of racetrack. Absolutely sensational stuff. Dusan Borkovic as well up into 9th, and there is Ted Bjork again going for the move for the race lead, and this time he gets it all gathered up on corner exit. Cardozo down to second. The outside line for Santi Urrutia on this occasion, not quite enough. The launch for Filippi should be enough to just about cling on to that place, and yes it is. He's trying to close the door to Urrutia. Urrutia trying to stick to the outside. It'll become the inside. Was there a little bit of contact there? Not quite. Urrutia at last has pulled the pin and moves up into 3rd position. Gurrieri follows him through as well. Filippi down into 4th, 5th place. A great bit of defensive driving from John Filippi, but it was inevitable, and the inevitable has come. Filippi moves down. Urrutia and Gurrieri move up, and now it is up to Santi to try and close the gap as quickly as he can to Pedro Cardozo, and then we're going to have a conversation about what happens at the front of the pack, currently led by Ted Bjork to the tune of around 0.4 of a second. So Bjork starting to slowly eke away from Pedro Cardozo. The big question is, does Cardozo have enough in the tank to hold off Santiago Urrutia? Very, 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 very impressive indeed has been Pedro Cardozo over the course of the double-header South American journey. Let's take another quick look though at that overtake again. Santi Urrutia decided, that position's mine, thank you very much. I am not lifting come hell or high water. And the reward is position gained. Fabulous bit of brave driving from Santi Urrutia. John Filippi recognises that that is more risk than he's probably willing to take at this stage, and doesn't fight too hard on the return. Drops himself down into 5th position for good measure. So, 7 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. It is still Ted Bjork, 1.1 seconds ahead of Pedro Cardozo. Santiago Urrutia now up in a 3rd place from Esteban Gurrieri. John Filippi is fighting off Norbert Michaelis for position. Bebu Girolamo, Mikel Afcona make a bit of a train of BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa teams, their cars even, and that'll be good for Michaelis because his 2 teammates can play rear gunner. It'll give the Hungarian driver the maximum opportunity to get on terms with, and hopefully for him past, the Frenchman of John Filippi and the Volcano Motorsports Audi ahead. If they can clear that Audi, that does give them the opportunity to start sniffing around at Esteban Gurrieri. Just further up the road, Dusan Borkovic, Ma Qinghua, the 2 biggest movers in this race by a very, very long way. Indeed, Borkovic and Ma currently circulating 9th and 10th position. They're giving Afcona a little bit of food for thought as well, it has to be said. Mikel, none of the racers in this particular one, it doesn't seem, down in 8th place. Gave it his all in race 1, he said, to finish in 2nd position. There's just not quite the pace in that Elantra to be fighting at the front of the field. That can be very clearly seen here as starting to get swallowed up by Borkovic and Mar behind. So Borkovic having another, has to be said, sensational race. Hopefully can avoid the troubles that befell him towards the end of race 1 as he continues to charge through the pack. There is a few of the mid-pack, including a slightly war-wounded Marco Butti in 16th position. At least he's still running though, following his off-track excursion. Marco just behind Rafael Suzuki. That is a problem for Filippi. John Filippi ran a little bit deep. I don't think it's a car issue. I think that was more a racing line running a little bit deep problem. That sends him wide. That opens the door very easily indeed for 2 of the Hyundai squad. The third one of those is Bebel Girolami. He needs to do it the old-fashioned way and try and find an overtake. Can't quite get it done, but that is a rare mistake, I think, there from John Filippi. Opens the door unceremoniously for Norbert Michaelis and Mikel Azcona to walk on through. Bebel Girolami trying everything he's got as well to find a way past. There is John on the defensive. Is Filippi. Marchingois senses the opportunity as well. Dusan Borkovic. If gap go car, Borkovic to the inside. Borkovic gets the job done as well. Lovely bit of driving there. Opportunistic move for Dusan Borkovic. And he's not done yet. He's still got the 2 warring cars ahead to find a way past as well. That is Michaelis and Azcona clear of John Filippi, very heavily defensive. Girolami painted to the back, Borkovic painted to the back as well for good measure of the Hyundai driver. Can he find a way past? Keeping a watching brief is Mar in the Lincoln Co. Watching what's happening, waiting for an opportunity. Borkovic though, the charge has stunted a little bit now as everybody gets back up to speed, but that was a very costly mistake for Filippi. Big disappointment there for John, dropping down to 7th position. Still a good result in its own right, but after such a strong defensive drive at this stage, the lack thereof of pace in that Audi is starting to pay its price. And there we see a great opportunity now for Girolami around the outside. Borkovic goes to the inside as well, makes it 3 wide. Borkovic in the number 62 Goat Racing Honda has the outside line. Girolami's lost out big time in that particular move. Borkovic gets it done and dusted before we even get to the corner. Marchingois trying to buy into this one. Rossi as well having a look in the background, and Borkovic is the big winner from that particular move. Outstanding driving from the Goat Racing Honda man. Fabulous stuff there from Dusan Borkovic. It's been a great race so far. That moves the Serbian driver up in a 7th position, and that is a sensational drive from Dusan Borkovic to follow on from a very strong showing in race 1. Rossi looks to the inside now as Girolami will have the inside for the second part of the corner, but the Argentine driver struggling, it seems, for pace as we're coming into the final few moments. Dusan Borkovic still holding on at the front of that pack. Marchingois followed him through. So the 2 biggest movers in this race, by a very long way indeed it has to be said, have moved themselves up in a 7th and 8th. Fabulous, spectacular driving from both of those drivers. There is Marco Butti still enjoying the sideways action in the other Goat Honda. Butti, he moves up into 14th place as well. But does Dusan Borkovic have anything left in the tank to close up on Mikel Azcona? It's going to be a big ask for the Serbian driver. But no matter what happens from here on in, it has been fabulous racing from both Borkovic and Mar to move so quickly and so decisively up through the pack into 7th and 8th places respectively. John Filippi holding off the intentions of a slightly damaged, it has to be said, Nestor Girolami behind. Girolami with damage to the front of his Hyundai Elantra, starting to lose pace now in the dying embers of this round 10 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Very much damage limitation for Girolami in 10th position. Got a lot of work to do though. Matthias Rossi looking particularly interested behind. A bit of a gap's formed actually between the 2 of them. But Rossi still has time, although for his own sake he's got Juan Rosso trying very hard indeed to find a way past as well. So 1 minute then, 13 seconds on the clock. That's the 2 BRC Hyundais circulating as one. Norbert Michaelis being the lead of that particular inter-team battle in 5th position, and that's really the way I dare say that will stay, because Michaelis is looking for a big points haul this weekend. The car's not been quick, but he's hoovered up the points, Andy Prio-esque, wherever they're available. And I think for Norby, he will be more than delighted if the results stay as they are. On the checkered flag, he's a big handful of points over his rival, Jan Elishay, who took points out of him in qualifying in race 1, but Elishay still having an absolute nightmare, circulating down in 23rd position as things stand, having had to come down pit lane for reasons unknown as things stand at this stage. A little bit of on-board riding there with Santiago Urrutia. His lively start of the race quieting down somewhat now in 3rd position. He was faster than Cardozo on the last lap by 1.1 seconds, but he's still got 3.6 seconds to go to close that gap down. So I dare say Pedro Cardozo is a little bit in the comfort zone. I think that was Matheus Rossi that we saw going slowly as well at the top of your screen from 11th position. So Rossi in some kind of drama, I think. The Toyota Team Argentina machine and across the start-finish line. We'll see where that puts him as the clock hits 0 here at El Pinar. Ted Bjork once again in the best run of form I have seen for a long time for Ted Bjork at the front of the field, doing a very, very good job indeed. He's earned it the hard way through on-track overtaking. Ted Bjork is looking very, very good indeed for a race victory here in round 10, race number 2 at El Pinar. We cross the line then to begin the final lap. 30 minutes plus 1 lap here at El Pinar. Bjork is on the hunt for his 3rd Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. That is right, I called it right. Matheus Rossi into retirement from 11th position. Real shame for Rossi. It was a reasonably strong showing in the 2nd race inside that top 10, but it would not to be. So at the front of the field then, we pick up our race leaders, Ted Bjork, Pedro Cardozo and Santiago Urrutia. Almost in the same shot together on the same piece of real estate, but I think for the likes of Santiago Urrutia, the clock has wound down just a little bit too fast. Ted Bjork got the deal done. There is Rossi, not looking happy at all about his DNF. If we go back to the racing action, there we are. That is Norbert Michaelis and Mikael Azcona circulating as one. They're not going to change positions, I don't think. As Ted Bjork now, Pedro Cardozo definitely leaving it on tenterhooks though, as Urrutia closes and closes and closes. This is the real last overtaking opportunity though, so Santi doesn't have the time. And through the final corner they go. Ted Bjork, in the form of his life, takes the checkered flag at El Pinar from Pedro Cardozo and home hero Santiago Urrutia. Esteban Gurrieri crosses the line in 4th. Just behind him is Norbert Michaelis and Mikael Azcona, and it is all beaming smiles on the Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing garage as their man Ted Bjork takes a sensational victory to go with what has been a very, very powerful weekend from the Swedish driver. There is the 111 taking position number 1 here in South America with a very, very cool, calm, collected drive indeed. Starting from 6th position, making it 5th with the removal of Ma Qinghua. Got a good start, survived all of the dramas of the initial false start and the safety car restart, made the passes on track, was decisive when he needed to be, unleashed the pace to close down race leader Pedro Cardozo and took with it the victory for good measure. Pedro Cardozo, an absolutely exceptional race for the number 43. 2nd overall, such a crying shame that he couldn't hang on for the overall race victory. But 2nd overall, 1st in the TCR South America runners, and showing that himself and his squad can compete at the very highest level indeed. Great for PMO Racing, great for the Peugeot, and great for Pedro Cardozo. And this is our provisional race 2 results. Ted Bjork from Cardozo and Urrutia, Esteban Gurrieri, Norbert Mikulis, Miklav Kona in 6th, Dusan Borkovic with an outstanding drive in 7th, ahead of an equally outstanding Marcin Hua. Bebo Girolami fades to 9th at the flag from John Filippi, Marco Butti's 11th from Juan Rosso, Norberto Fontana and Juan Casella in 14th. 15th is Rafael Suzuki from Rafael Race. Then it's Galid Osman, Fabio Casagrande, Thiago Vivacqua, Enrico Maglione, Carlos Silva in 21st position. And then we see Jan Elishay in 22nd, having been down pit lane. The nightmare continues for Jan Elishay following a sensational race 1 performance. 2 racers, 2 Lincoln Co's, different drivers, but the same end result. A victory at the very front of the field. This time, it's the turn of Ted Bjork. And what a drive that was from Ted Bjork. Fabulous stuff there. The crowd applaud. Into the 3rd position slot. Drops down as Santiago Urrutia. He'll be happy to be on the podium, and perhaps a bittersweet experience for the Uruguayan driver following the elation of a win in 2023, but he's still got a podium and some silverware and something to celebrate with his home fans. And look at the fans, look how deep they are, 10 deep at the podium to catch a glimpse and a bit of a photo or a video of their hero. Santi very gentlemanly goes over and congratulates Ted on a very, very well executed race victory. I'm a big fan of Ted Bjork as a man. Is exceptionally excited to be a race car driver. Despite having done it for so many years and had so much success, Ted Bjork appreciates and enjoys every moment of his touring car career. And to see the kind of form that he's in is absolutely sensational. Thumbs up to Pedro Cardozo there again. Very, very gentlemanly. Bjork knows that's been a big, big drive for Pedro Cardozo. When the little mini debrief is undertaken, I'm sure you'll find that Ted will be very smiley indeed. As we wait to give the Kumho winner's cap, it's collecting those very nicely. Outstanding stuff then for Ted Bjork. Really, really impressive drive. I'm looking forward to see what he's got to say when our Lisa Leyland catches him down in Parc Ferme in a few moments' time. There we go then, Ted running into position. It'll be a few seconds, then we're going to hear from race winner of round 10 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour as we finish our South American adventure here at El Pinar. A fantastic drive, overtakes and pace. Let's head down then to Lisa Leyland with our race winner, Ted Bjork.
Ted Bjork, congratulations. What a day for you. Yeah. Podium in that first race. You now turned a podium into a race win. Tell us how you're feeling right now.
It's like absolutely crazy. And first, with the start that happening, it went all crazy. And I got pushed around so much. I knew it was not the start, so it was so crazy. And then to be able to keep the car in one piece, you know, for the real start. And then it's so hard to overtake, you know, when you're fighting for the positions. So I got held back in the beginning. And then it was just such a great feeling, and Santi helped me. So Santi gave me the victory. Yeah, because we were fighting together, and I managed to, you know, it was so tight, but he gave me the victory. So.
Teamwork, congratulations.
Congratulations indeed for our race winner, Ted Bjork. Fantastic, magnanimous, very, very gentlemanly, as always, giving credit to Santiago Urrutia. But it was a fantastic drive, and he managed to find his way past on track Pedro Cardozo, who was the first finisher of the TCR South America field and second overall in what was a fantastic performance for Cardozo. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he's got to say when it comes to what has been one of the strongest racers that I've seen Pedro Cardozo deliver in TCR racing. Absolutely sensational stuff for the Brazilian driver. Getting ready to go onto the podium, in fact, trying to hide from our Lisa as he's running away, desperate to go collect his trophy. Absolutely fabulous stuff, and a really impressive drive from all three of our podium finishers. In fact, for the entirety of the field, it's always a pleasure to be with TCR South America. The level is incredibly high, and they've put on a fantastic show, it has to be said, over these two race meetings at Interlagos a couple of weeks ago, and here at El Pinar. There we go, the drivers just preparing then to go up on to the podium celebration. Smiles all round, it has to be said. And there's Juan Rosso, another good guy. Okay, so let's head to the podium.
TCR World Tour Race 2. In third place from Team Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing, we have Santi Urrutia. A home round for Santi. Fantastic to see him on the podium in front of his home fans. In second place from Team PMO Racing, we have Pedro Cardoso. Second podium for Pedro today, a brilliant day for him. And our winning driver from Team Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing, we have Ted Bjork. Again, a fantastic day for Ted and his team. This is his second podium here in Uruguay. And our winning team on the podium today is Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing, represented by Christian Stromberg. Presenting our winning trophies today, we have the president of WSC, Marcello Lotti. Time now for our national anthem. Congratulations there, Mr. Marcello Lotti. We'll present our trophies to our winning drivers. Okay, I'd like to invite the drivers and our team representative for a family photo.
Fabulous stuff then from our podium finishers as the champagne sprays here in El Pinar. A great result for Lincoln Co. They're going to be running out of team representatives at this rate to send up for the trophies. Such is the rate of success. Fabulous stuff.
The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round in Uruguay.
Very impressive stuff. And the home fans, of course, get a home podium for Santiago Urrutia. So Santi will be happy to take home some silverware, I'm sure, and such a lovely trophy that these El Pinar trophies are as well. Very, very nice indeed. In a few moments' time then, we're going to have our TCR South America podium and our top three finishers. Pedro, don't go very far because you're going to be going straight back up again, but this time in
now
P1.
Time for our second podium presentation here in El Pinar, Uruguay for race 2 of TCR South America. In third place from Argentina, we have driver Norberto Fontana. And he's joined by his home team this afternoon. Congratulations there to Norberto. And in second place from Argentina, we have Juan Anés Rosso. And the next driver really needs no introduction today. We've seen a lot of him. Our winning driver from Brazil, we have Pedro Cardoso. Our winning team on the podium today is, of course, PMO Racing, represented by Damian Fineschi. And presenting our winning trophies today to TCR South America, we have President of WSC, Marcello Lotti. Time now for the national anthem. Oh, we'll present the trophies. Thank you, Marcello Lotti. Congratulations. Time now for a family photo. Thank you.
Fabulous stuff then from our TCR South America podium finishers. Roberto Fontana's children getting sprayed with champagne as well. Beautiful to see, very much a family atmosphere here in TCR South America. And another victory for Pedro Cardoso. A wonderful, wonderful weekend's working, it has to be said, for the PMO driver. And another trophy, another bottle of champagne, and another full score to take home for his efforts. Great stuff, great to see the Peugeot still very competitive. And then the final podium of the day, here with the TC Cup. In a few moments' time, Lisa Leyland down on there doing the podium. Let's head down.
Trophy presentation. This time is the second podium of the TCR Trophy Cup. Okay, we have another special award today. This one is the final trophy. It's the driver of the weekend by Ardemicon. And of course, the winning driver is Pedro Cardoso. This is his third podium today. And presenting the trophy to Pedro, we have President of TCR South America, Federico Penteri.
So, no TCR Cup podium, but it is the driver of the day. Of course, Pedro Cardoso.
Final podium presentation for today.
And now the podium.
It's the second podium for the TCR Trophy Cup. And our third place driver today is Carlos Silva from Uruguay. Second place again from Uruguay, we have Enrico Magnoni. Congratulations there to Enrico. And our winning driver of the TCR Trophy Cup, we have Fabio Cascalandi from Brazil. And presenting the words, we have the president of the WSC, we have Marcello Lotti. Quick photo opportunity there for our TCR Trophy Cup winners here in El Pinar, Uruguay. Congratulations to you.
So there we go then, our final podium of the day, and the South American adventure here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour is over and done with. What an incredible race, what an incredible weekend. Thank you to TCR South America. Thank you all for being a part of it. We'll see you again on the weekend of the 18th to the 20th of October. From us all, thanks for watching, take care, and goodbye.